It was December 4, 1872, when a British vessel called the Dei Gratia spotted something strange drifting across the Atlantic Ocean. At first, the ship looked ordinary, a merchant brigantine with sails partially set, slowly moving with the wind. But as the crew approached, they sensed something wasn't right. The name painted on its hull was Mary Celeste. She was supposed to be on her way to Italy, carrying a cargo of 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol. Yet, here she was, abandoned, gliding silently over the waves with no one at the helm. When the men of the Dei Gratia boarded the ship, they entered into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in maritime history. Everything appeared strangely normal. The cargo was untouched. The crew's clothing, tools, and personal items remained neatly stored. Even food was left on the tables, as if a meal had been interrupted only moments before. But the most important thing was missing: the people. Stay with me until the very end of this chilling mystery of the Mary Celeste, because the hidden lesson behind this ghost ship's fate will forever change how you think about fear, trust, and the choices we make when danger looms. Trust me, you won't see the haunting conclusion coming. The captain, his wife, their 2-year-old daughter, and 7 skilled sailors had all vanished without leaving a single clue. There was no sign of violence, no blood, no struggle. The ship was seaworthy and undamaged. The only strange detail was the captain's logbook, which ended abruptly, mid-sentence, just days earlier. It was as though an invisible hand had plucked every soul from the deck, leaving the vessel to wander the sea like a ghost. To understand the depth of this mystery, you need to know who these people were. The Mary Celeste was captained by Benjamin Briggs, a respected New England sailor. Unlike many seamen of his time, Briggs was deeply religious, disciplined, and committed to his family. He wasn't driven only by money. He took pride in careful navigation and steady leadership. For this voyage, he had brought along his wife, Sarah, and their young daughter, Sophia. The rest of his crew had been handpicked for their loyalty and skill. Briggs was not the kind of man to take risks with strangers on board. This makes the disappearance even more baffling. When news spread of the ghost ship, theories began to swirl. The most obvious explanation seemed to be pirates. But that didn't make sense. Why would pirates leave behind all the cargo, all the money, all the valuables, and take only the people? Nothing was missing, not even the crew's personal possessions. Another idea was mutiny. Perhaps the crew turned against Briggs. Yet, this theory collapsed under scrutiny. Briggs was known for his fair treatment of sailors. His wife and child were with him. Would hardened sailors really overthrow their captain and murder a woman and child, then disappear themselves? If so, why wasn't there any evidence of violence? Some speculated about natural forces. Maybe a waterspout or a sudden seaquake rocked the ship, making the crew believe it was about to sink. Perhaps in a moment of panic, Briggs ordered everyone into the lifeboat, thinking they would return once the danger had passed. If this happened, maybe the lifeboat rope snapped, setting them adrift while the Mary Celeste continued her lonely voyage. But again, why would such an experienced captain, sailing calm seas, abandon a perfectly seaworthy vessel so suddenly? It didn't add up. Then there was the cargo itself. Out of the 1,700 barrels of alcohol, 9 were later found to be empty. Some believe they leaked, filling the ship with explosive fumes. If Briggs smelled alcohol vapor, he may have feared the ship could blow at any second. In that case, he might have ordered everyone to evacuate temporarily, tethering the lifeboat to the ship. If the rope broke, the family and crew could have drifted away helplessly, watching as their ship and their only hope of survival disappeared over the horizon. This theory has logic, but it still leaves too many eerie details unexplained. Why was food left on the table? Why did the logbook stop so suddenly? And why, if they evacuated for safety, did no one survive to tell the tale? Not all explanations were so rational. Rumors spread quickly about supernatural forces. Some swore the ship was cursed. Others whispered that sea monsters dragged the crew into the deep. A few went even further, claiming ghosts or otherworldly beings spirited the people away, leaving the vessel as an empty shell. While such tales sound far-fetched, in the face of such a haunting mystery, the human imagination is quick to fill in the blanks. When the Mary Celeste was finally towed to Gibraltar, the courts opened an investigation. Instead of congratulating the Dei Gratia crew for saving the ship, suspicion turned toward them. Had they attacked the Mary Celeste and killed its crew? Had they staged the whole thing for a salvage reward? The hearings dragged on, but no evidence was ever found. Still, the air of scandal followed the ship from that point forward. The Mary Celeste herself seemed cursed after that. She was sold and resold, changing owners several times. Every captain complained of misfortune. Voyages failed. Crews whispered of her bad luck. Finally, in 1885, just 13 years after her mysterious voyage, she was deliberately run aground in a botched insurance scam. The once proud vessel was left to rot, her bones scattered beneath the waves. But the legend never died. Behind the mystery lies a heartbreaking human story. Captain Briggs had written letters before leaving, expressing hope for the journey and faith in God's protection. Sarah, his wife, had left behind her entire world to follow her husband. Their little daughter Sophia was just beginning to form her first words. The sailors had families of their own wives' children, mothers waiting on shore. In a single moment, all of it vanished into silence, swallowed by the Atlantic. So what does the Mary Celeste teach us? On the surface, it is a mystery, a ghost story of the sea. But deeper, it reflects something universal. Life is fragile. We may plan, prepare, and set our sails carefully. Yet the sea of existence has secrets we can never predict. Love, ambition, power, all can vanish in an instant. And in the end, what remains is not the wealth we gather, but the choices we make, the love we give, and the legacy of how we treated those around us. The truth is haunting. We are all like the Mary Celeste, drifting through time with our sails set, our tables full, our plans neatly written, never knowing when the tide may shift and erase us from the deck of history. That is why our choices matter more than anything, because one day, only the ghost of our story will remain. The Mary Celeste was never truly solved. Historians, Argus sailors wonder, storytellers invent, but maybe it was never meant to be solved. Maybe its power lies in its silence, in the endless questions it leaves behind. The Mary Celeste is not only a ghost ship of the sea, it is a ghost ship of the human soul. And perhaps that's why we still cannot look away. If this story gave you chills, imagine how many more secrets the world is hiding. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and ring the bell icon, because we're diving deeper into mysteries, legends, and forgotten truths from history. And remember, sometimes, the ocean keeps its answers.